Durag Wisdom here, folks, and welcome to Y2K18.11.05. Just now it's less than 24 hours to election day. This day is almost gone. Lost a lot of sleep during these last few months, and of course these last 2 years under the thumb of this creep Trump hasn't been much help either. The music you're hearing in the background is from the Sand Pebbles. It's by Jerry Goldsmith. The Sand Pebbles were released by 20th Century Fox in the days when movie studios were movie studios and television studios were television studios, and movie studios were still owned by movie studios. 20th Century Fox. Directed by Robert Wise and starring Steve McQueen, Candice Bergen, Richard Attenborough, and Richard Crenna. And the Sand Pebbles is a historical drama which had parallels at that time to the Vietnam War. It was one of those roadshow pictures with a 2 hour and 3 hour running time. They call that a roadshow version. They used to show them in the big theaters. It's one of my favorite movies. It's a drama that cuts right to the heart of what being a human being is all about. The things we face, the evils that we cause, and sometimes there are heroics too to fight the evil. There's a scene from this movie that I'll never forget. And as you can see, I have the flag up again in my window. After that creep became president of my country, accidental president that is, I took it right out of my window. I was ashamed that this dictator creep was vomited on us, was defecated into us. Well, I'm hoping that all that will change, of course, in less than 24 hours. But anyways, from the Sand Pebbles, there was this pivotal scene for me. American sailors who were assigned to China during the 1920s, during these revolutionary periods. Chiang Kai-shek versus the communists, all kinds of. China was really up and was invaded by all kinds of foreigners that were deciding things for it. Terrible time, terrible for all the people that had to deal with that. So here's this sailor, played by Steve McQueen, named Jake Holman, who's assigned to this ship, the San Pablo. It's a gunboat patrolling China, China seas, and he's on this ship, this gunboat, and he is, of course, an individual, someone who stands out whether he likes it or not, and he finds himself in conflict with the entire crew, basically. At some point in the movie, the sailors on board the San Pablo, that's why they call it Sand Pebbles, the sailors are called Sand Pebbles. These sailors find themselves inside of Shanghai. They have to go to a consulate that was controlled by the Americans, and now it's controlled by the Chinese. As they show up, these sailors are watching the flag being taken down. These service people, these sailors, are commanded they cannot interfere at this point. They have to stay neutral. There's a whole story behind why they're there, and I don't want to ruin the whole movie for you. But at some point, as they're coming back, because they have to unarm themselves, they have to kind of humiliate themselves before the Chinese. So they're on their way back to the San Pablo after they had their meeting, and all these Chinese people are standing on both sides of the narrow street. And you have Chinese here, Chinese there, screaming, throwing garbage on these sailors. And they were in the middle of soldiers, so the Chinese soldiers were getting garbage on them too, because they had to walk with their sling arms, when they weren't not being armed, and they have these Chinese soldiers who could be armed, you know, on both sides of them, and they have to be marched all the way back to the ship, and these sailors are garbage. You can see in the scenes, close-ups, garbage being thrown in their faces, on their uniforms, everything. Terrible. And they get back to the San Pablo, and they're all covered in dirty and smelly from garbage, and they're in this room, and they can't stand the Chinese people that they had on board the ship working for them, basically, and they pull off the uniforms. One guy throws it in this Chinese person's face who's working on board and says, "Burn it! I never want to wear it again," basically. So Steve McQueen's character, Jake Holman, takes off his shirt. He tells the guy very politely, "Please wash it." I'm laughing because, you know what that's meant to me over the years is, yes, the people around the world don't like us right now. Many times in American history, the world hasn't liked us for whatever reason. Vietnam, this time when Americans found themselves in China in the 1920s during the revolutionary periods. But the one thing this movie taught me was, this is my country, and no matter what, I have to put on the uniform, so to speak. Wash the uniform, put it on again, and stand there with pride. Now, I took the flag out of my window because I couldn't stand having that creep being in my life. But then I kept thinking about that movie, thinking about that character, Jake Holman, and you're saying, wash that uniform to put it back on. And he was saying, no matter what, sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong, sometimes we're in situations where you don't want to be, but we stand, this country, America, the United States, stands for some kind of an ideal. With all the warts, the good, the evil, that we could talk, who founded our country, and things they did and things they didn't do. You take the garbage, you wipe it off that these people throw on you, that other people throw on you. You put on a clean uniform, you put on a face for our country, and you go on. And that's what Jake Holman taught me. And this is why I put that American flag back at my window. In fact, I have 3 in there. Not that I'm trying to be extra, super duper patriotic. Donald Trump cannot take my country away from me. Donald Trump, the traitor, cannot deny me my right to proudly fly my flag, which has no religious symbols on it. It's a very unique flag. No crosses, no stars of David, no crescent moons. It is a totally secular flag that represents the United States of America, and I hope one day they add Puerto Rico, the 51st state. And Donald Trump and his traitorous Trumpist party, which is holding the GOP hostage, which has it locked up someplace, they're not going to stop me from being what I am. An American, a Jew, a human being, a democratic socialist who supports Zionism, a happy American citizen. This country has given me everything. The social programs in this country has aided me. My union has aided me. And from now on, I'm flying this flag whether that creep is there or not. I'm going out to vote tomorrow. I don't care if it's raining. It's supposed to be very bad weather tomorrow. I'm going out to vote. And regardless of the outcome, I'm spoiling for the fight that I may have to do the twilight of my life, the latter days of my life, I have to do what I have to do to make sure that you young kids out there, you millennials, post-millennials, whatever, can also enjoy the country that I grew up in. Trump can't stop me from flying my flag. So no matter what this creep's doing around the world, no matter how much garbage this creep is dumping on us, no matter how much the world is laughing at us, and I'm marching in the street like Jake Holman in the Sand Pebbles with the other sailors, getting garbage tossed on us. But when I get back home, or on my ship, wherever, I'm going to wash the uniform, be an American, United States American, that is, and not let anyone deny me the right, because they're miserable creeps, to fly this flag back there. I simply asked, here, wash it, clean up, go on.